Hi, everyone, and welcome to our informational webinar. I see that people are still joining the call, so we'll give it another minute or so to start the session. And for those of you who just joined, welcome. We'll start momentarily. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Data Science Dojo's live information session on our Data Science and Data Engineering Bootcamp. I'm Blair Heckel, and I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at Data Science Dojo, and I will be moderating today's webinar. Before we begin the webinar, I would like to mention that all lines will be muted for the duration of the call, but questions are encouraged. So moving on to today's agenda, I will provide a brief introduction about Rebecca and myself, and then jump right into the presentation. We will save time at the end of the webinar to answer questions. In the event that we do not have enough time to answer all questions, please feel free to reach out to us at help@datasciencedojo.com about the information session, and Rebecca or I will be happy to answer them. We ask that you please participate, as this will allow us to ensure that all of your questions are answered about our data science training. So just a little bit about myself. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Data Science Dojo, and I've worked here for about 2 years now, and I'm in charge of all marketing initiatives and campaigns, as well as travel to the boot camps to teach and gather video content. Prior to joining Data Science Dojo, I worked for another startup that does essentially what we teach, which is text analytics and sentiment analysis, and thus began my foray into data science. And a little bit about Rebecca, our data scientist, who will be answering some of your questions. Rebecca has been with our company for a little over 2 months, but we've been working with Rebecca for over a year, as she has written several blogs and created tutorials, which you can find on our website. Rebecca holds a bachelor's degree of information and media from the University of Technology in Sydney and is undertaking her postgraduate diploma in mathematics and statistics from the University of Southern Queensland. She has a background in writing and tech publications. So let's go ahead and jump into the presentation. Let's quickly go over the agenda. So today we will cover who Data Science Dojo is, who we are, and what we do. We'll go over the anatomy of a boot camp and what to expect, when and where the boot camps are, and what to expect throughout the day. And we will also discuss what is covered in the curriculum. Then we'll jump into pricing and payment plans, which I'm sure many of you have questions about. How do you register? Do you have any flexible payment plans? Do you accept invoices? And so on. And then who can attend? So who is this boot camp for? Are there any prerequisites? Do you have to have a PhD to attend? And then, so once you've decided you would like to get a jump start in data science, we will walk you through the registration process. And then lastly, what to expect after the boot camp, and any other frequently asked questions. So Data Science Dojo was founded in 2014 by our CEO and Chief Data Scientist, Raja Iqbal, as a way of democratizing data science and making it accessible for everyone. By lowering the barriers to do data science, and anyone from a business analyst to a product manager, a doctor, lawyer can get hands-on with analytics and make data-driven decisions. In addition to boot camps, we also offer shorter workshops and courses on UX, product management, data science for business managers, fully customized private trainings, and free community events organized globally. And if you would like more information on any of our corporate trainings, please feel free to email us after the webinar. So just to show you here, this slide shows our global footprint. And I think it is actually a little bit out of date, but we have had more than 4,000 attendees from over 700 companies attend our boot camps globally. We've had companies like Microsoft, AT&T, Accenture, Amazon attend our trainings. And we have our boot camps all over the world. I know in the US, we've had boot camps in Seattle, Chicago, Silicon Valley, Las Vegas, Austin, DC, and New York. And globally, we've had our boot camps in Toronto, Amsterdam, London, Barcelona, Dubai, Singapore, Bucharest, Bangkok, Pretoria, and more. In addition to our boot camps and public offerings, we also hold meetups and community talks in several cities across the world. And you can also find us on meetup.com as well as our events page, which you can locate at the bottom of our website. So our philosophy is that anyone can learn data science. No PhD is required. And we see this all the time with our students who go on to utilize the tools and techniques from the training and transfer those skills to their current job or project they're working on. And again, we want to democratize data science and make it easier for folks to make data-driven decisions. You know, you don't have to be in that special club of PhDs to do data science. And again, we don't promise to turn anyone into a data scientist. Obviously, with only 15 hours of training, you can only learn so much, but you will learn the fundamentals of data science, from data visualization to data mining to predictive analytics to machine learning and text analytics and so on. And you'll be able to walk away with a hands-on application of the materials as well. So again, a few things to consider when comparing different boot camps. One thing is delivery. So we are an in-person boot camp versus an online training you would receive from Coursera or Udacity or Udemy. But we do break up our training into 3 different sections, which I'll go into later, and that is pre-boot camp, and post-boot camp. Another thing to consider is that our boot camp is 1 week versus 8 to 12 weeks. We realize that most working professionals can't take that much time off of work to attend a training. So what we've done is we have broken down our curriculum into pre-boot camp, which is to be completed online. You have your 50 hours of hands-on training and hands-on applications. And then you have an optional post-boot camp training, and that is also completed online. The faculty you'll see at the boot camps are the instructors have actual industry experience. So we're not training students from the boot camp to then become instructors. Our instructors apply these tools and techniques every day. And then our target audience. So we cater mostly to working professionals, people who are looking to add some data science skills to their current toolbox or skill set and apply back to their current job or project that they're working on. We don't necessarily target people who are looking for a career change, although anybody who's interested in making that jump into data science is more than welcome to join our boot camp. Our motto is data science for everyone. So again, we want to lower the barriers and make it more accessible for people to better understand data science and make data-driven decisions. And cost, which I'll go into later, is just a fraction of what other boot camps cost. Okay, so let's talk about the impact that our boot camp has had. Again, like I mentioned, we've had over 4,000 people attend our trainings in just the past 4 years alone. You can read all of our bootcamp reviews on our website. Another thing you can look for when reviewing and comparing different boot camps is we can be found on switchup.org and coursereport.com. And these are third-party bootcamp review sites. And this is actually one of our success stories. So Patrick Butler, he attended our Chicago April 2017 boot camp, and he registered the Friday prior to the boot camp, actually, and ended up winning our Kaggle competition. No background in programming, no background in statistics. But what he was able to do was during the boot camp, he realized, oh, okay, he can apply these tools and techniques to a project at his current job. And his data engineering prototype saved his company over 6 figures a year, as well as about 50 hours a week in work hours. You can find more about other success stories at datasciencedojo.com/bootcamp/stories. And then let's look at the anatomy of a boot camp. So again, like I mentioned, there are 3 stages of the learning process here. You have your pre-boot camp materials, and that will help you get ramped up for the 50 hours of in-person training. Your pre-boot camp materials include Introduction to R Programming, which is especially useful if you have no experience with programming. It's generally a couple of hours, but if you focus on any of the pre-boot camp materials, I would definitely emphasize that you focus on Introduction to R Programming. We also cover the fundamentals of data mining, Introduction to Azure Machine Learning, and Introduction to AWS Machine Learning. And then lastly, the fundamentals of big data and predictive analytics. And then at the bootcamp, that is where you will find your most intense week, I think, ever. It's 5 days, 10 hours a day. And that will cover all of the modules that we focus on our curriculum page. And Rebecca, our data scientist, will cover that in just a moment. And then we have our post-bootcamp activities, and those are designed to keep you engaged even once the training has finished. And again, Rebecca will cover that. But we want to let you know that, once the training has ended, that doesn't mean your learning experience has ended either. So we frequently post new content for our attendees. So again, to focus on the pre-bootcamp coursework, this is to help you ramp up on prerequisites if you have no background in data mining, machine learning, or R programming. It's about 10 hours of work, and it also, that 10 hours includes software that you'll need to install prior to attending the bootcamp. And I believe that is R Studio, some text editors such as Sublime Text, and Azure Machine Learning if you don't have that. It's a good thing to consider if you have admin rights to your laptop. If you do not, make sure that you get someone from your IT department to install all of the necessary software ahead of time. And again, the delivery is online and self-paced. So even if you register 3 to 6 months prior to the bootcamp, you can jump on that pre-coursework anytime. Another thing that is included in your pre-bootcamp coursework is your checklist and survey. So the checklist just makes sure that you have all of the necessary items completed prior to the first day of the training, and the pre-bootcamp survey. So let us know, how did you find us? Convey any dietary restrictions you have that we can share with the caterers ahead of time. And then we have our main focus, our in-person bootcamp. So we have a good mix of theory and hands-on labs and exercises, roughly 50-50. And then it's 10 hours a day for 5 days, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you should expect some homework every night. It's roughly 1 to 2 hours of homework. You will apply what you've learned to some fundamental exercises, as well as your predictive model for your Kaggle competition. And for your Kaggle competition, whoever has the highest accuracy predictive model at the end of the week will win a special prize. Again, what's included in the bootcamp is breakfast, lunch, and unlimited snacks throughout the week. We want to make sure that you guys are hydrated and energized and able to focus on the material. And then you will have an invitation to join our networking dinner, which happens one night during the week, typically the Tuesday night of the week. And more details about where that dinner will be held is shared closer to the boot camp. And then post boot camp. So, depending on what package you purchase, if you purchase the Sensei package, there will be mentoring for a Kaggle competition. So the mentoring for a data science project that you see on the pricing comparison packages, that refers specifically to this. So if you are, again, looking for a career change, you're looking for a little bit of extra help, this is something that can definitely solidify your learning. So you and the other Sensei students will form a group, a team, and you guys will work on a live data set. And you will work with either one of our instructors or our mentors to build a predictive model. Our post-bootcamp content, again, is optional, but you have roughly 20 hours of learning to facilitate all of the material that you learn throughout the course. And post-bootcamp, you'll still have access to your Slack channel, so you can stay engaged with your peers even once the training has ended. You'll also be invited to join our LinkedIn alumni group and be invited to future webinars, tutorials, and talks. Once you have completed the course, this is a frequently asked question, you will get a certificate of completion. Note that this does not represent official academic credit, but you will be able to place it on your LinkedIn. And then let's jump into meeting your instructors. So of course, we have our CEO and Chief Data Scientist, Raja Iqbal. He is the main instructor for all boot camps, and he generally covers days 1 through 4. Raja has worked at Microsoft Bing and Bing Ads in various research and development roles in data science and machine learning. And then we have data scientist James Mays. So James typically covers day 5, which is big data engineering, and sometimes part of day 4. James has an extensive experience in the energy industry and various global roles with a focus on identifying and capturing business value through the application of data science and business intelligence. James holds a bachelor's degree in supply chain management from the University of Houston with a concentration in applied mathematics. We also have Rebecca Merritt, who I just mentioned and introduced, and she covers text analytics and sentiment analysis. And then we have Arham Hakil. He is our business analyst, and you'll find him at most of the boot camps. You can usually find him walking around, checking on students and helping them out with their code. He covers data visualization, K-means, and big data engineering. And myself. So I also travel to most of the boot camps, and I do teach my favorite module, which is online experimentation and A/B testing. And then jumping into how we teach. So again, we want to carefully balance coding, math, and tech for students who, might not have the same background. They might not have a background in programming or statistics or machine learning. So again, our motto is data science for everybody. So we do want to lower those barriers and make it more accessible for those who do want to make data-driven decisions. We do focus on fundamentals and intuition. We are not technology or software agnostic. We really want to teach you the tools and techniques versus any specific software. And then most important, I think it's great to know that students can identify areas of future study. When coming into the boot camp, you might have a general idea of why you're taking the course, but sometimes it's not necessary, but it's definitely useful if you come to the training with a goal in mind, or maybe a project that you and your team are working for. And you're interested in learning about text analytics or applying a predictive model to predict customer churn. Again, it's not necessary, but it's definitely helpful in order to help you get the most use out of the course. And then we emphasize a pace based on the above goals rather than racing through a checklist. So you might find that some modules we spend more time on versus others. And again, depending on which package you purchase, you might have the option of having office hours. So post bootcamp, if you do have office hours, you can meet with one of our instructors or mentors to go over any of the modules that you find yourself a bit stuck on. And then I'm going to pass the torch to Rebecca, who is now going to cover the fundamentals of our curriculum. Hey everyone, just give me 1 second to set up here. Make sure I get everything. Okay. All right, let's get into the guts of it, as I say. So going to take you through the curriculum. So Blair's talked a bit about the structure. We have pre-bootcamp material. We have obviously the 5 days of training, the intensive 10 hours a day. And we want you to also follow up. So we'll take you through the end-to-end process and what each module contains, so you have a better understanding of what you're going to be doing once you enter the bootcamp, what you're going to be doing before the bootcamp, and what you're going to be doing to follow up. So we don't want you just to attend a 5-day bootcamp and that's it. We want you to actually get prepared as much as possible, and we want to follow up in making you practice your art. So you've got to master your art, as they say. All right, so I'll take you through the pre-bootcamp material so you have an idea of what you're going to be doing before you enter the bootcamp and how best to spend your hours. So we'll look at introduction to big data. So this is everything that's in the big data pipeline. So we look at data ingestion to pre-processing of huge data sets, modeling and evaluating the model. We also want you to understand the general process in a data science project. And this also includes the overview of key types of modeling techniques. So the key ones that I can list off the top of my head are classification, regression, clustering, association analysis, anomaly detection, and the like. So this gives you an overview of all those kind of things. We also want to get you to have a good grounding in data mining. So look at the fundamentals of data mining, understanding everything from your different types of data, from continuous to discrete to categorical and numerical type data to document type data, and the like. We also want you to understand what are attributes and objects. They're basically just predictor variables and records in a data set of each subject. And we also want you to understand the types of sampling. So simple random sampling to stratified or sampling even proportions of each class. For those of you who don't have a solid grounding in R or no experience in R, we have an introduction to R programming module for our pre-bootcamp material. So this just gives you an idea how to read in your data set, how to write data, how to do basic plot commands, how to create vectors of data values, how to create lists, things like this that are just really core. So by the time you enter the bootcamp, you could just hit the ground running and not have to waste too much time understanding just the really basic stuff. And we also do introduction to Azure ML. So we use Azure ML for those who want to use a more visual interface when they're trying to build a model, if they don't want to get too bogged down in code and they just would like to do a sort of plug and play kind of exercise. We teach you how to navigate the visual interface, how to select different model options from the menu, read in data, etc. We teach you how to set up an experiment in Azure ML, how to get started with using the interface for modeling, and Amazon Web Services. And you might have heard of some other visual interfaces out there. It's the same kind of process, really. All right, now let's get into the bootcamp, because that's the core bit. So these are all our different modules. There's quite a lot here, but I'll try to do my best to condense it down and give you an overview of each one. So we'll start off with data exploration and visualization. That's really quite core, actually. So you want to be able to visually tell a story about your data. So you want to gather key insights into what the data could be saying. You want to spot any issues in the data that might need addressing. If there's any missing values, if there's an imbalance in the classes, for example. So before we get into modeling, we're not just going to jump straight into the modeling stage yet. You need to really understand your data first to know how to best to model it, right? So we use our libraries like ggplot2 and Lattice to basically bring out
a story in the data and also find any underlying issues with the data to address them before we start applying a model onto them. So then we get into predictive analytics and classification. So this is also really core as well. We explain how to model your data to predict an outcome using a decision tree classification as an example. So we take you through the process from splitting your data set into train and test sets, applying decision trees, understanding the underlying algorithm to understand how to model or how your model came up with its decision, and addressing any issues with the model and improving the performance. And then we get on to evaluating predictive models. So once you've built your model, you need to be able to see if it's worked well, if it's being able to predict most cases right, or if it's predict most cases wrong. So we take you through the model evaluation process. We take you through the model evaluation metrics to assess how well it performed in whether it made accurate predictions or not. So for example, when we're dealing with classification, very common metrics are precision recall and F1 score, and you'll learn more about these during the bootcamp. We teach you how to improve your model by looking at different validation and generalization techniques, such as cross-validation. And we'll break down these concepts during the bootcamp and make them easy to understand, digestible for you. And then we'll get on to ensemble methods. So this is a really cool module, actually. We look at, combining different techniques to boost the predictive power of your model. So this is just another way to improve your modeling. You want to combine the best of both techniques. This could involve averaging the results or the predictions of multiple decision trees, for example. Or it could be further randomizing your data in order to take in more variation and generalize and make it better for prediction. And now we'll go through deploying machine learning models. So this is just basically showing how to deploy a predictive model in Azure ML for those who want to basically not get bogged down in the code, as I said, and be able to go through the critical thinking process end to end, which can then be easily translated into R scripts later. But it's important to understand how to first treat your data, how to model it, what are the issues you need to look for, how to evaluate it. So we do that through a visual interface for those who might be a bit intimidated with the R code. And we also look at parameter tuning. So this is a really important one. This goes through, it's kind of like looking at different configuration options when modeling to improve the performance of your model. So for example, if you're combining decision trees, you might look at the number of trees and how deep the trees are. These are the things that are going to affect the outcome or the predictive accuracy. So we go through some experiments until we reach the best prediction performance we possibly can. We also look at regression. So this is introducing you to a very common modeling technique to map your data to a numeric type outcome or prediction. We go through a really interesting example of trying to predict house prices in certain suburbs and regions and things like that. And we go through that in R. Text analytics. So we've been dealing with kind of structured data throughout the whole bootcamp, but when we get to text analytics, a lot of the data online is actually text-based, and just look at any single web page. It's going to have some sort of text in it, and that's a lot of opportunity to mine some data out there. But unfortunately, it just doesn't come in a nice, neatly packaged table format. So what would be really worth learning is understanding how to mine this kind of data, which is text data. And so we show you how to model textual data, how to treat this data so that programs can read and understand it, and for you to analyze, patterns on text. Recommendation systems. This is also really worth learning about. So we look at how to rank the similarity between, say, user preferences or just data attributes. So we go through techniques to compare how similar or dissimilar subjects are to each other in order to recommend similar subjects. So you've seen this in so many industry applications in Netflix and Amazon and all those websites. So we take you through the process of how they actually come up with recommendations based on similarity measures. A/B testing, Blair talked a bit about this. This is really common in marketing, and Blair, as our marketing manager, has done an extensive amount of A/B testing, a ridiculous amount of A/B testing, actually. So this is really useful for probably marketers in particular, how to set up an experiment, how to test option 1 against option 2, in say user responses. We also go through hypothesis tests. So this is just to see if the options result in a significant difference in responses, for example. And we look at the metrics for A/B testing as well. And we go through some real world practical examples. Now, the Kaggle capstone that you'll be undertaking will help you just get prepared for a Kaggle competition. So you probably heard of Kaggle. It's every data scientist on the planet's probably trying to tackle a Kaggle, data science or a Kaggle competition. So we coach you through your own sort of practical use of your skills you've been learning throughout the week. And it's really worth trying to make an effort to try to get the best predictive model you can on any of the Kaggle competitions, because this is a great way to really dive deep and practice what you've learned. And so we coach you through this kind of process as well. The fundamentals of data engineering. So this is kind of like a different component in our bootcamp, but a really important one. So if you're dealing with terabytes of data in real world use cases and mostly in industry, you need a kind of basic understanding of the storage and server requirements to hold your data. So we go through tools we call map, reduce, and hive in setting up nodes to distribute the data load across many nodes. And so you don't end up killing your processing when you're trying to, use huge data sets. Event ingestion and stream processing. So this is to do with Azure Stream Analytics. We go through a practical exercise of using Azure Stream Analytics to look at recent time windows or recent time grabs of data streaming into Azure's platform so that we can analyze, for example, the number of trucks passing an intersection against other types of vehicles, sensing the type of vehicle, and streaming data in real time to pick up an event or pattern. And the IoT hack kind of closely relates to this. So we give you kind of like a few hours in the boot camp to basically go and play around and hack around with a sensor device or any we want to be able to connect any data producing device, and this can even be your cell phone, to Azure Stream Analytics, and try to find a way to automatically spot a pattern in a time window or in a certain time window. So that's kind of like the whole condensed down crux of the boot camp. We'll get on to post boot camp because it doesn't end there. We do want you to master your art. So keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. So let's go to unsupervised learning. So in a lot of the boot camp material, we've looked at supervised learning, where we map data back to a labeled class or average or numeric average. So we look at the k-means clustering algorithm to work out the underlying classes or groups of subjects without having to use label data, without having to map the data back to a label. And this is useful for things where you might not just have labeled data. So you need to know some techniques where we can able to look at the underlying structure automatically. And there are cases in the world where you just can't get labeled data. So naive Bayes, it's kind of like a really simple algorithm used for simple data sets, but it can actually be really effective in solving many common business problems out there. So we look at the naive Bayes approach to modeling. We look at some probability theory, conditional probability in modeling your data. And this is also really useful to know and a good technique to keep practicing your art. Logistic regression. So that's another technique that's quite humble compared to others, but it's still effective when you have a simple outcome of predicting, say, a true or false, a yes or no, a binary class. So for example, loyal customers from non-loyal customers, that would be a classic logistic regression binary outcome. NoSQL. So you're probably thinking, how does this all relate? Well, sometimes we don't really want the limitation of having to predefine our data schema or structure of our data. We want to use the benefit of NoSQL to insert data into our database without predefined schema. So we basically talk you through this and help you understand if you have data sets that are changing the structure of your data, it's changing the schema. NoSQL can be a useful tool to have in your toolkit. Self-directed labs. So we give you a textbook during the bootcamp, and it's designed for you to go off and follow step-by-step tutorials and how to use different data science tools at your own pace. And with the Kaggle mentoring, depending on the package you got, we team you up with some fellow attendees to tackle a real-world data problem on Kaggle. And we give you some mentoring and assistance from our instructors through that process. So if you're not sure if you're using the right technique for the right problem, or you're not sure if you're heading in the right direction, you don't have to feel like, okay, you've attended the boot camp and okay, every person for themselves are out there, just figure it out on your own. No, we offer some mentoring so we can guide you in the right direction and get you into the right critical thinking mindset and start thinking like a data science, because the critical thinking is really key here. So we want you to think like a data science, not just use things out of the box, and understand how to identify the problem, tackle the problem, explore the problem. So that pretty much sums it all up. These are some common questions. I answered a question earlier, but if you have any other questions, I'm sure there's a lot for you to digest there. Feel free to just reach out to us. But these are some common questions. So can I use Python instead of R? Yes, you can use Python. Actually, Python's becoming quite popular, but we do primarily teach in R. Our instructors will use R just so there's like a consistency among all students, but we do have Python equivalent exercises, and we can help assist you there. And what if my company doesn't use ours? Or so the bootcamp's not designed to be any like tool focused or tool dependent. The worst thing you want to do is create a bootcamp where it's tool dependent, right? So as I said, critical thinking is what really sets a data scientist what I think differentiates a real data scientist from somebody who just applies data science. So even though this bootcamp's not to try to make you a data scientist overnight, we really want you to get into the critical thinking mindset of a data scientist so that you can tackle real world problems. And if you understand the end-to-end process, the rest is just knowing the certain function call, the command that is done in that particular language. So it's not tool dependent. What are the hands-on labs? So these are just basically exercises. I encourage you to click on the link so you get an idea of the different, so some of the exercises are in R, some are in Zool, there's a mix there. But basically, we wanted to keep it practical as much as possible. So it's not just a nice passive long lecture. We wanted to get you actually utilizing your skills and having these light bulb moments where you're like, now that I've actually done it, I realize why I need to learn that. So have a click on the link and get an idea there. But if you have any questions, do reach out to either Blair and I. And for now, I'll just hand it over to Blair, who'll finish off this webinar with some further information.
All right. Hi, everyone. So now I'm going to jump into some of your burning questions, which is regarding pricing. So for those of you who don't know, we have 3 different pricing packages, and you'll find that they are Dojo, Guru, and Sensei. So Dojo at full price, you're looking at $3,800. Guru is at full price, $4,000, and Sensei package is $4,500. So what we do is we split up these packages into what you might think you'll get the most benefit from. So all packages, they offer the 5-day hands-on in-person training. You will receive 4 Data Science Dojo crafted handbooks that will help facilitate your learning. You will get access to sample code in our private Git repository, and you'll be able to participate in an in-class Kaggle competition. So again, as I mentioned previously, you will be able to apply everything you've learned throughout the week to your nightly homework and apply it to your Kaggle competition. And at the end of the week, whoever has the highest accuracy predictive model will win a special prize. Everyone will also have breakfast, lunch, and unlimited refreshments throughout the week, and an invitation to join the networking dinner. And then you might note that our pricing has changed from our 2018 boot camps to our 2019 boot camps. And the pricing packages I'm showing you here are for our Austin boot camp this January 28th through February 1st, 2019. I'm going to go over what each package is and who it might be catered towards. So Dojo. So that is, I just want the basics. I want the in-person training. I want the sample code. I want to participate in the Kaggle competition, and I want, a little bit of access to the learning portal. So that is 1 month of access to your pre-boot camp, boot camp and post boot camp material 1 month after the class has ended. So not 1 month from when you register, 1 month from the start. It's when the class has ended. And that is I just want the fundamentals of the course. The Guru package is our standard package and our most popular. So that also comes with an invitation to the networking dinner, which again takes place one night during the boot camp, typically on the Tuesday. You will have 1 year of access to the learning portal for 2018 boot camps. That is 6 months of access. For 2019 and on, you will get 1 year of access to the learning portal to go back and refresh. You'll also get a subscription to Azure Machine Learning, as well as 3 reference books, which are there to help facilitate your learning. So we research these books, and we find that they are really useful. They are you can find them if you hover over any of the pricing packages on the website, but I believe they are For Everyone, The Cartoon Guide to Statistics, and Predictive Analytics. You will also have access to recorded lectures. So all of the material that is covered during the course, you can have access to those recorded sessions in your learning portal. And then deliberate practices. Those are exercises, worksheets, and quizzes that you can also find in your learning portal. And that, again, the Guru package is our most popular package. But again, some people who are attending our bootcamp, maybe they're looking for a career change, or maybe they're looking for a promotion, or want to get a little bit of more hands-on experience. You're then going to want to go for the Sensei package. Again, that also comes with 1 year of access to the learning portal, software subscriptions, the reference books, recorded lectures, and deliberate practices. But you will also get 2 half-hour sessions to meet with an instructor or a mentor and go over any of the material that you might be a little bit stuck on during the boot camp. These office hours are not for consulting or for a project you're working on at work. They're specifically to cover the material that was taught during the boot camp if you need a little bit of extra help. And then the mentoring for a data science project. I think I mentioned this previously. All of the Sensei participants during the boot camp, you guys will form a team and compete in a Kaggle competition that is based on a live data set. And depending on how long that is, you can expect about 10 hours a week time-wise to put into this project. And that will focus on a live data set, which depending on which data set you choose is set to expire. It could be 1 month out, it could be a couple months out, a few weeks out. But that's up for you and your team to decide. And then you'll notice that we also have discounts for our boot camp. So once we announce a boot camp, we offer discounts starting at 30% off. We have a limited amount of discounts at each discount tier. So you'll find we'll start off at 30%, move to 25, then 20, 15, all the way to 5%. And then once we sell out of our discounted seats, we move to full price. And again, that's why these are early bird discounts, just to incentivize jumping on the registration ahead of time. They are available in limited quantities and offered on a first come, first served basis. And then we also offer 5% group discounts for teams that register together as a group of 4 or more. And they must register together at the same time. We can send you a special URL for you and your team to secure the discount. And they can be coupled with early bird discounts as well. And then some of you who are interested in our Seattle and Toronto boot camps, you might notice the pricing structure is a bit different. So for Seattle, due to Washington state regulations, we have to split up our boot camps. And I'll go into that a bit later. We do offer the Guru and Sensei packages, but you'll find that the Dojo package is split up into the first 2 days as Dojo 2 and the last 3 days as Dojo 3. And then Toronto has a similar situation. So with the Private Colleges Act of Ontario, you'll find that our 5-day boot camp is actually split up into 5 different courses. You can register for each one separately, or you can secure a discount for the 5-day bundle. And I'll go into that in a bit. It's the same product offering. It is the same boot camp. It's just split up by different days. Again, so to cover Dojo 2 versus Dojo 3, these are only offered for our Seattle boot camps. So if you register for Dojo 2, again, that is the first 2 days of the 5-day boot camp. And that's if you just want to learn the basics. So we cover loading data into R, exploring it, and prepping it for predictive modeling. You will also learn how to train a classification model or ensemble and determine the model's quality. For Dojo 3, these are the last 3 days of the course. And this is if you know the basics, but you want to focus more on a mathematical intuition. So we'll be covering regression, recommender systems, text analytics, and clustering. And then on day 5, we'll cover big data engineering, cloud, Hadoop, and Internet of Things. And this is just to show you the payment options you have for the Toronto boot camp. Again, same 5-day boot camp, but because of the Private Colleges Act of Ontario, we had to split it up into 5 separate days. And these days, you can find the modules that are covered on our curriculum page. You can just apply it to the same training. And again, you can register for all 5 days. If you scroll down past this pricing comparison, you'll be able to register for the 5-day bundle with a discount. And then many of you I know have questions about payment options. So we do accept payments in the forms of credit card, PayPal, check, and wire or direct transfer. And then I know that there's not an option at this time, but some of you might be registering on behalf of your coworker or your employee. That's totally fine. You can either register, fill in the details yourself and make the payment and reach out to us later to let us know who is the actual attendee for the course. Or you, instead of entering your information in the billing section, you can enter the actual attendees' information, and that will ensure that they receive all of their necessary bootcamp emails. And then, do you have a cage code for a military? We have a lot of questions about this from Navy, from Department of Defense. We do not have a cage code yet. We are in the process of securing it, and hopefully within about a month or so, we should have confirmation of that. And then another question we get is, do we accept the GI Bill? So unfortunately, we do not accept the GI Bill. We are not an accredited institution. We are just a post-secondary educational corporate training. And then invoices. We can definitely send you an invoice. You just let us know which bootcamp you're interested in attending, which bootcamp package you would like to register for, the full name and email of the person attending the course, and whom the invoice should be addressed to. Also, let us know if there's anything we need to reference on the form, such as an SF-182, a purchase order, or reference number, and we can fully customize those invoices for you as well. Invoices are issued at full price regardless of any early bird discounts. And this is just because of long approval and payment processes. So we might actually run out of early bird discounts by the time we do receive the payment. And if an invoice is issued within 2 weeks of the start of the training, payment must be received within 5 business days. And then discounts, as I mentioned, we do have early bird discounts up to 30% off. They are available on a first come, first served basis and can be coupled with group discounts. Unfortunately, we do not have any corporate or student discounts at this time. And then I know there are some of you who are concerned about making the payment. Maybe you're ready to take the boot camp, but you're just not sure. You don't have enough upfront. That's totally fine. We do offer a flexible payment plan. You register with $900 down, and you pay the rest in 12 monthly installments. We can do custom payment plans. It still has to be within 12 months, but if you would like to split it up into quarterly, bi-monthly, we can totally do that as well. And there are no interest or fees. So there are no hidden fees, no small fine print. What you see is exactly what you're paying for. And this is only offered for the Guru package and for US boot camps only, and early bird discounts do not apply. The incentive for the discounts is to register upfront, but with a flexible payment plan, you can spread out that payment. And then jumping into registration. So how do I register for the course? what you can do is if you go to our website, in the top menu, you can find the schedule tab. Select that, and that will bring you to all of our scheduled boot camps coming up. So you can see here, we still have seats for Seattle, for our Austin boot camp. And I think many of you have a question. You might see one seat left at 30% off for Austin. That is just one seat left for that specific discount tier. We still have many seats available for our Austin boot camp. And then if you find, oh, there's New York's on the wait list. I really wanted to go, but there's no room. We filled up to capacity. Join the wait list, and we will let you know if a spot opens up. It's a free for all, so it's not first come first serve. Whoever signs up on the wait list first, it's whoever registers secures that spot first. First come first serve. Then you can take the boot camp. And if you select on Seattle or register, both buttons will take you to that specific bootcamp page. Okay, and so then now you've registered. So now what do I expect? When you register for the course, the page should reload and you will find your order number. You will also receive a flurry of emails from Data Science Dojo. And if you've registered with a corporate email address, sometimes it's possible that our emails land in your spam, but you should have been able to receive at least these 4 upcoming emails, which are your email confirmation and receipt. That will tell you the location of the bootcamp, the logistics and schedule. You will find another email with instruction to create your Learning Portal account. Once you register for your Learning Portal, you will receive another email to then activate your account. So make sure you do that. You will also receive a letter from our CEO and an invitation to join your cohort Slack group. And that you can join in and meet and engage with your instructors and peers before, during, and even after the bootcamp. Your access to Slack never expires. And then registration. So where is the venue? All of the information about the venue and the location of the bootcamp can be found on that specific bootcamp locations page in the bottom right-hand corner. If you scroll all the way down, you can find a Google map and all of the information regarding the address. And again, waitlist. We do have waitlists for all of our upcoming boot camps. If we fill up to capacity, we will let you know if a spot opens up. Another question we frequently get asked is, does this represent official academic credit? No, it does not. We are not an accredited institution, but you will get a certificate of completion, which you can place on your LinkedIn. Does this count towards CPPE credits? Yes, it does. So many accountants, CPAs, and financial analysts do take this course, as it does count towards their continuing education credits. And then visa requirements. So we do not actually help you secure a visa, but what we can do is we can send you an invitation letter. We'll send you a letter based upon if you are already registered for the course, and one if you have yet to sign up, just an invitation saying, we would like to extend an invitation to join our boot camp on such and such date at this location. And who can attend? Who can attend this course? Am I a good fit? Our bootcamp is specifically designed for working professionals, people who are looking to add some new skills to their current toolbox or apply at a project that they have at their current job. It is suitable for beginners. So even if you don't have any experience with data science, statistics, or programming, that's all right. That's why we have the pre-bootcamp materials. And we've had people attend our bootcamp from all over the world, 700 companies in various industries, job titles, and functions. We've had business analysts, lawyers, software engineers, veterinarians, people from business, banking, food and beverage, farming, IT, oil and gas, and so on. And then prerequisites. some knowledge of at least one programming or scripting language is helpful, although it is not a requirement. Again, the pre-bootcamp material, that introduction to R, is geared to help you ramp up for the 50 hours of in-person training. We also work hard to ensure that no prior statistics knowledge is required. The statistics that you'll need during the bootcamp is basic, but basic enough for you to be dangerous with. And then again, you have 10 hours of pre-bootcamp coursework, which includes introduction to R programming, introduction to Azure machine learning and AWS machine learning, fundamentals of data mining, and introduction to big data and predictive analytics. And then we can jump into post-bootcamp. So what happens after I've completed the 50 hours of in-person training? You will receive a certificate of completion, which you can place on your LinkedIn. We focus on developing professional skills, not job placement. So unfortunately, we do not offer career services. As with only 50 hours of training, there's so much you can learn, but just enough to be dangerous with data science. You will get an invitation to join our Data Science Dojo alumni group, alumni LinkedIn group, and then bootcamp stories. So share with us, what have you been able to accomplish after the bootcamp? We would love to hear from you. And this is great for startups as well. So if you work for a startup and you're looking for a little bit more exposure, we'd be happy to help you out. And depending on which bootcamp package you purchase, you will have access to the learning portal from 1 month up to a year. And then we are coming out with a brand new online learning portal sometime within the next year, where you can find new courses. So these aren't specific to the bootcamp, but we will be offering new courses and tracks which you can complete online, self-paced at your convenience. We do also offer free tutorials and talks. You can find all of our past talks at tutorials.datasciencedojo.com or our YouTube channel. You can also find our blogs and step-by-step tutorials at blog.datasciencedojo.com. And write for us. Feel free to write for us if you're interested in data science, if you're looking to get more exposure, boost your resume, boost your street cred in data science. You can write for us. We would be happy to make you a contributor. And AI and machine learning for everyone. We do have a Facebook group as well as a LinkedIn group. Anybody can join, and feel free to share any relevant machine learning and artificial intelligence information. So where next? So on our schedule, you can find all of our upcoming scheduled boot camps, all of the locations that we have announced. But if you don't see anywhere that is local to you, that's okay. You can fill out one of our Notify Me forms, and we will let you know if we do have plans on holding a boot camp in any of those locations. For anything we haven't covered today, you can also check out our FAQs at ask.datasciencedojo.com, or you can email us at help@datasciencedojo.com, and one of us will get in touch with you. Again, we also offer corporate training and consulting. We can do data science for UX, data science for managers and business leaders, data science for product managers, or if you have a special project you need help with, our data scientists are fully equipped to help you cover those. And then group pricing and invoicing, again, feel free to reach out to us about the 5% group discount, or if you need to create a specific invoice for an attendee. And if you're still not sure after this webinar that this bootcamp is right for you, we would be more than happy to extend a 7-day free trial of our learning portal. Just reach out to one of us on your webinar chat, or reach out to us at help@datasciencedojo.com. So that concludes our webinar, and looks like we are ready to begin the Q&A session if we do have any questions. Okay, so it looks like we do have one question. Somebody just asked, when is our next boot camp in Chicago? And I believe that is March 22nd. Sorry, our next boot camp in Chicago is April 22nd through the 26th. And we are hoping to announce that shortly. Again, once we do announce boot camps, we do offer 30% discounts. Those discounts are available on a first come, first served basis. Okay, and it looks like someone just asked, is it possible to bypass the pre-boot camp material if one is familiar with the subjects? Yes, absolutely. If you feel like you are prepared enough for the boot camp, it's not required for you to complete the pre-boot camp coursework. None of this is graded. It's just for your learning. We have another question. Will all boot camps at to be determined locations take place after the last scheduled boot camp in Toronto, or is it possible that they will be interspersed within the existing schedule? And the answer is it depends. So I know we have quite a bit of a gap between Chicago in April and Toronto in August, and we are planning on putting a few other boot camps in between. Which locations those will be will most likely repeat our most popular locations, such as Seattle or New York or Washington, D.C. We have talked about putting Rio on the map. So it just depends really on the number of inquiries we get and the amount of demand we get for those specific locations. Okay, and next question. Somebody asks, are we planning on having any boot camps in Montreal? At this time, we are not, although we are open to the possibility. It's just right now we are planning on holding a boot camp in Toronto. Um, we would love to have boot camps in every different city all the time, but it's just not possible for our teaching team. And also, if you don't see the location you're interested in on the to be determined locations, please reach out to us on a contact form and we would be happy to create one of those pages for you. Somebody just asked, will there be any Python covered in the course? So we do not specifically cover programming in R or in Python. The pre-bootcamp coursework is there to help you ramp up on understanding the fundamentals of programming. So can you assign a variable? Can you call a function? And during the bootcamp, it's using R or Python to apply the tools and techniques. And the bootcamp is covered in R, but if you prefer to work in Python, we do have mirrored Python scripts for you to follow along with. Okay, so it looks like we have covered all of the questions, but if you find that you have any other questions down the line, please feel free to send us an email at help@datasciencedojo.com. Alternatively, you can set up a time with Rebecca or myself to inquire about our boot camps, corporate training, consulting, or anything else. I want to thank you again, Rebecca, for covering all of the material covered in the curriculum. And thank you to everybody for joining. And if you're looking for more tutorials or content like this, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Alternatively, you can find us at tutorials.datasciencedojo.com and blog.datasciencedojo.com for more step-by-step tutorials, as well as our YouTube channel. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.